boys and girls, and welcome back to Sunday School. We are continuing our big story of God's forever kingdom that is found in the Bible. And today's story is from the book of Genesis, the first book in the Bible in the Old Testament. Let's take a look at our poster picture. This picture shows a map of desert sands and some water. What else do you see in this picture? What do you wonder about? I wonder why the young boy at the top of the picture has such a colorful coat. I wonder where the camels and the people are going. I wonder who the men are in front of the pyramids. Let's hear more in our story. Last week we learned about God's big promise to Abraham. Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac had a son named Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons. One of Jacob's sons was named Joseph. Today we'll hear about some of the bad things that happened to Joseph, but how God used it for good. And that's what our memory verse is about today. Let's read it. You planned to harm me, but God planned it for good. Genesis 50:20. Let's hear what happened to Joseph. One day Jacob gave his son Joseph a special coat. It was a beautiful coat with many colors. All of Joseph's brothers were jealous and angry because Joseph got a special gift from their father. Joseph also received special dreams from God that his brothers would one day bow down before him, and that made his brothers even more angry. The brothers were so angry with Joseph that they threw him into a pit and then sold him as a slave. He was taken to a faraway country called Egypt. Joseph didn't want to leave his family, but God was with Joseph in this difficult time. After a few years in Egypt, God made Joseph become an important leader and helper to the powerful king of Egypt called Pharaoh. Pharaoh had a troublesome dream. God told Joseph that the dream meant there would be a great famine in the land. A famine is when there is hardly any food growing and people are going hungry. Because of this dream about the famine, Joseph ordered many large barns to be built to collect grain for the years when there would be a food shortage. When the famine came, the people of Egypt had plenty of food and did not starve. God used Joseph to help save many people from hunger. One day, Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy some food because they too were getting hungry. The brothers didn't know that Joseph was still alive and they did not recognize him. But when Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them and he loved them. He forgave them for hurting him and selling him as a slave. Joseph showed God's kindness, forgiveness, and love to them, just like Jesus does to us. Then Jacob and his sons and all the rest of Joseph's family came to Egypt. God's promise was fulfilled again. Rather than Abraham's descendants dying of hunger, God used Joseph to bring his family to Egypt and get food so they would not starve to death. They settled in Egypt and had many children. After many years, Jacob's family had become a great nation, just as God had promised to Abraham. They were called the Israelites. However, the Israelites were living in Egypt and did not have their own land. They waited and prayed for God to lead them out of Egypt and back to Canaan, their promised land. There were some bad things that happened to Joseph, but God used it for good, to save Joseph's family from dying of hunger. In fact, it was all a part of God's plan to fulfill his big promise to Abraham that his descendants would grow into a large nation, the Israelites. That's our story for today. Next week, we'll find out more about what happened to the Israelites in Egypt. Bye for now. See you next week.